Hey there, historians. Understanding vocabulary words is critical when we're trying to understand a new concept. If I don't understand these vocabulary words, I'm going to have a hard time understanding what anything is really talking about. So we're going to make sure that we practice these vocabulary terms before each new topic to make sure that we can understand the actual historical information. This assignment is going to use 3 different vocabulary strategies. We're going to use these 3 each time we encounter new words. This one is called Historical Thinking Skills Vocabulary, and on the top it says name. That is important to begin. The first strategy is called context clues. We're going to read each sentence. There are 10 sentences. We're going to look for clues about the meaning of the bold-faced word. Here is our bold-faced word. We're then going to either underline or highlight another word or phrase in the sentence that helps you to understand the new vocabulary term. So let's look at the first sentence. Number 1. There was a fight in the lunchroom, but in order for the principal to understand what happened, they needed to know more about the surrounding context of the situation. Context is our word. There was a fight in the lunchroom, but in order for the principal to understand what happened, it seems like the principal's trying to understand what happened, which might have to do with context. They needed to know more about the surrounding context. Well, surrounding seems like it's a bit of a hint as well. Surrounding context of the situation. It seems like understand what happened, surrounding, and situation all have to do with context. Let's go on to the second sentence. Our word is right here, bias. I know Mr. Huggins has a bias against cats because he never pets my cat Zola, but always plays with my dog Freya. I know Mr. Huggins has a bias against. Well, bias must be something that you can have, and it might be something that is in opposition to something else. Okay, so that's how you do context clues, and you'll continue this for all 10 of the sentences. We're going to move on to part 2. Part 2 is called matching. Instead of writing down the entire vocabulary term, which you probably won't pay attention to anyway, you're just going to look for the definition that matches up with those words. Now, I could read through all these definitions, earlier in time or order first, the arrangement of events or dates in the order of their occurrence, and I could just match them up. Or I could read through each of them and just pick the word. So we've only done 2. We did bias, and if I were to read through all of these, I'm looking for something that means against or opposed to. This bottom one, prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person, or group, compared with another, usually in a way that is considered to be unfair. That one sounds kind of like my clues have or has a and against for bias, the sentence number 2. The first sentence was context, and we know that we used some of the clues like surrounding or situation or to know what happened. So if I were to read through all of these definitions, I'm going to go and find that this one right here, the surrounding circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, that sounds similar to the clues that I underlined. Context. It's the surrounding circumstances that form the setting. Let's think back to that sentence. Sentence number 1. There was a fight in the lunchroom, but in order for the principal to understand what happened, more about the surrounding context of that situation. The surrounding circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea. All right. Then we flip the page over and we go to what is called processing. In processing, we're going to visually represent each new term with a drawing. We're not going to write definitions, but stick figures, symbols are okay. This can be a very basic kind of drawing. It's not about being a Michelangelo or a Picasso or a Frida Kahlo or something. All right, so let's take a look at bias. Bias was like opposed to something. It was about being against something. It's prejudice in favor of or against. So maybe on this one I've got here's a circle and here's a square, and I have a bias towards circles and against squares. I like circles, I dislike squares. That is a simple drawing that I can use to process what the meaning of bias is. So, we'll do that for each of the 10 words. That is how you do your vocabulary assignments. It's important that you do this work each time we get one so we can have a better understanding of these words. All right, that's it, historians. Thanks. Peace.